Welcome to 4Slide HR, and in this today's session we will discuss on the new labor code which has been passed by the Government of India from both the sessions and both the parliaments, their houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and which are ready for implementation from May 1st, 2021. But there is a recent news that it may be postponed for implementation for some time due to some territorial elections. So in this today's session we are going to learn about the 4 code related to the labor code and labor relation and labor scenario is going to change in India. What is their impact and the benefit and versus for the employee, laborer as well as the principals and the employer. So in this we will cover all 4 labor laws and labor code: the code on wage, code on industry relation, code on social security and code on organization safety and health. Come to the Industrial Relation Code 2020. In the Industrial Relation Code 2020, that has been 3 acts has been merged in one, the Industrial Relation Code 2020. What are those acts? We are going to discuss in this session here. That amalgamated 3 Act versus the Industrial Dispute Act 1946, the Trade Union Act 1926, then Industrial Employment Standing Order Act 1947 or something, and industry definition has been changed in this new Industrial Relation Code 2020. That the definition of the industry under Industrial Relation Code has totally changed. It excludes the charitable society, philanthropic services and domestic services exclude from the definition of the industries. Then fixed term employment. Related to fixed term employment, there has been many changes made in this Industrial Relation Code 2020. What are those? That is allow hiring worker on fixed term contract. Now it has been legalized that you can hire and promote the fixed term contract for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and it exactly we will be discussed in the later on in this session. That eligibility for the benefit like that of a permanent worker also has been changed. Then gratuity payable on the pro rata basis has been changed. No retrenchment compensation payable on termination of fixed term employment. It is a basis all the time. If there is a fixed term employment, it is already a sense that he have to go out from the organization when they get the fixed term employment available. So there is no compensation, and it has been included strictly in this Industrial Relation Code 2021. Then the applicability applies to the workers only. Worker definition akin to present workman definition. However, for the purpose of trade union worker means all the person employed. Now, the trade union purpose, all the person employed in the organization, and applicability for the workmen only. All workers are employees, but all employees are not workers. Remember this definition. Mandates setting up on grievance redressal committees to dispute arising out of the individual worker grievance to be heard by the GRC, Grievance Redressal Committee, Section 4/1. Aggrieved worker may file application before Grievance Redressal Committee within 1 year from the date of cause of action. If something happens, the person who feels that they have been harassed or something happened, they can file their complaint to the Grievance Redressal Committee within 1 year of the incidents happen. grievance redressal committee to complete its proceeding within 30 days of receipt of the application. Within 30 days of the receipt of the application, aggrieved worker may file appeal. 60 days limitation for filing appeal. He is free or he is respected with against the conclusion or the committee outcome and committee what they have finding and what they have given the result from this inquiry or proceeding. The applicant have aggrieved employee have the right to file a complaint limit and the appealing within 60 days of the outcome of the proceeding has been given by the grievance redressal committees. The worker may make application to the industrial tribunal after 45 days of making application to conciliation officer. Such application to be made within 19 days. In this new industrial relation code, the days and the responsibilities has been fixed, specifically the time limit when you have to apply, when it should be resolved, and this is the one important part of this industrial relation code 2020 which has been incorporated in this new code. Then references system removed, whether worker can directly approach industrial tribunal on the failure of conciliation. If there is a conciliation is fail, then the worker can directly approach to the industrial tribunal for their issues and grievance. Then the industrial tribunal replace labor court and consists of 2 members, one judicial and the other administrative. The industrial tribunal will be there who will be replaced as per this industrial relation code 2020 replaces the labor courts and consists of 2 members. One is the judicial and the administrative. Threshold limit for permission for layoff, retrenchment and closure enhanced to 3,000. If there is 300 people in your organization, if you have to lay off, retrench and closure, then the threshold limit means 3,000 is that you have to get approval for the layoff, retrenchment and closure for if the number is 300 now. 1 year after retrenchment of worker, vacancy can be filled by any other person. Means you will not be bound to reinforce these retrenched worker after 1 year. You can fill the vacancies with other person. Workers reskilling fund set up for training of retrenched worker through contribution of the employer of amount equal to 15 days wages last drawn by the worker immediately before the retrenchment. So here is the one important point which has been included in the Industrial Relation Code 2020, that is the worker reskilling fund set up for training of retrenched worker through the contribution of the employer of an amount equal to the 15 days wages last drawn by the worker immediately before the retrenchment. Then in case of the trade union, but the scenario has been changed in this new industrial relation code, which we should understand properly. The registration of the trade union, at least 7 members should apply. Trade union will register only if they have 10% membership or 100, whichever is less. 10% or 100, whichever is less. Means if you have to register a trade union, there should be 7 members. 7 members can apply, the majority and the team, and the number of people minimum should be not less than 7 to apply for a registration of a trade union. If there is only one trade union of worker, then the employer shall recognize the same as sole negotiating union. If there is an organization one trade union, so that is the sole negotiating union for the employer. If there are more than one registered union of workers, the trade union with support of at least 51% will be recognized as sole negotiation union. Mean if there is 3 unions, then their 1.5 unions will be recognized as the sole for the negotiation bodies. Then, if no trade union have 51% or more, then negotiating council should be constituted. Then the council, purpose of the provision of council is there, is the negotiating council should be constituted. Negotiating council must have the support of not less than 20% of the workers. Each negotiation council shall have one representative. Minister cannot be officer bearer of any trade union. It is also conditioned that if any trade union there is a ministering who has holding the post of minister anywhere, he could not be the office bearer of any trade union. Now come to the preview of the strikes and lockdowns. But the new industrial code said about the strikes and lockdown, prohibit strikes and lockdown in all industrial establishment. First condition is there will be no strikes which are not striked by the laws and this industrial law and lockout for industrial establishment without giving 14 days notice, where notice is valid for 16 days. That has to understand during pendency of the cancellation proceeding before a cancellation officer, during pendency of the proceeding before the tribunal, and during pendency of attribution or settlement, or while on operation is in operation. So that is the condition for giving a notice of 14 days, where notice is valid for 60 days only. Then come to the standing orders. Threshold of 300 or more workers for an industrial establishment to obtain certification of standing orders if the standing order differ from the model standing order made by the central government. There is the threshold has been increased for 300 from the 100 people. If there was earlier 100 people in the organization, they have to go for the standard standing order, and which has to be authorized and approved by the government of the state authorities. But it has been increased for the 300 and below the worker is there, then the threshold of the minimum number will be 300, mean you can apply the model standing order over the central government. If an employer adopt model standing order of the central government with respect to the matters relevant to the employer's industrial establishment, then the model standing order shall be deemed to be certified. But it said, if the employer adopt the model standing order of the central government with respect to the matter relevant to the employer's industrial establishment, but the industrial establishment, their condition and the circumstances they have, then the model standing order shall be deemed to be certified. Next point, the standing order provision is applicable to both factory and non-factory establishment now, like the ITs, BPOs, hotels, shop and malls. It will be included to all now as per the new provisions of the Industrial Relation Code 2020. Domestic inquiry, disciplinary inquiry shall be completed ordinary within 90 days from the date of suspension of worker. So it is mandatory here now that you have to complete the disciplinary inquiry, the domestic inquiry within 90 days from the date of suspension of the worker. Worker entitled to 50% of wage for the first 90 days and 75% thereafter. If you have dismissed a suspended employee or worker, they will be entitled with the 50% of wages for the first 90 days and 75% thereafter if the suspension go for after the 90 days. This is about the Industrial Code 2020. So this is all about in this session today, and see you in the next session in the explanation of varied with these new labor codes. Be connected with us and sign up and subscribe this 4-slide HR for this advancing knowledge on the labor laws and your HR system. We are making and building here the new paradigm of the HRM in this unpleasant time.